This is Bear Rabbit, and I gotta tell you, I find a great laughing place listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel. Zippity doo-dah!
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libations.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs and not artistic cream puffs. This show is where every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. For this episode, we discuss Disney's official POV of Tiana's Bayou adventure. And look, this isn't your typical polished, practiced, pixie dust and Disney podcast. No way. We are not in the parks every day letting you know about the aqua-colored boards returning to Disney's Boardwalk Villas.
That's right, Kev. We're just here to drink, talk some Disney, and tell you what we think of the ride video from Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yes, you listeners have the easy part. All you got to do is listen up to what we think up while we drink up.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Rachel.
And look, the easiest way to support us is to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, as well as turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. In addition, don't forget to book a vacation with Rachel, and then that also helps us show as well. So look, enough of our jibber jabber. Let's go talk about the secret spice. Here we are on the hub, the main topic segment of our show. And as I mentioned in the intro, we are talking about Disney's official point of view, POV, of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which dropped yesterday on June 1st. Yeah, this is something that has been buzzing around the Disney fan universe. It's interesting because I was just there. Maybe a few days later, I was there on that Wednesday before they dropped this video. And so Wednesday was the Magic Kingdom day I had for my trip because that's when my daughter was marching in the parade before the 3 o'clock parade. Now, I'll talk about my trip report on another show. But when going to Magic Kingdom, there were 3 priorities I wanted to do in there, which, number 1, of course, see my daughter perform. Number 2, see Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And number 3, see the Frontierland Shooting Arcade. So 1 and 3, I'll talk about that on another show. But I wanted to talk about walking up to Tiana's Bayou Adventure and my first impressions, because that conveniently leads into the discussion that we're going to have today about the video that they dropped. So I was walking up, I was walking through Frontierland, and I was like, all right, I got to see this thing. And I'm walking up, and there it is, just wall. It's still behind the walls. This is like apparently the day after, on that Thursday, they took down the walls, and you could see everything, but I didn't have the luxury to see that. I saw the last day that it still had the walls up. So I got to take a picture of the posters and whatnot. I'll throw that in the group or whatever else so y'all can see it. But walking up, Rachel, you got to see this too, right, on your subsequent trips?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, walking up, so it's now it looks less like a mountain.
Yes.
But it's definitely an elevated form of some sort, like a hill, with a lot of vegetation on it. So it's not like this is a mountain, because the forced perspective does kind of is, I guess, seem toned down. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Because they put all the like vegetation, like you said, not really plant life, but what looks like plant life. And so I think, they took away the forced perspective.
What fans are referring to as the broccoli on top of the hill.
Broccoli, yeah. Okay. It does kind of look like broccoli.
Yeah, it does kind of look like broccoli. And so now it looks like just a big hill. I was like, all right, well, that's cool. And then it's not cool, but it's like, it kind of hides the tallness factor of it, right? Like it used to have.
It's the grassy knoll.
And then I thought, some people make the argument, you're rising up to the top of cypress trees, which in of itself, if you're from Louisiana or from down here or anywhere that has cypress trees, they're pretty damn tall. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, that's plausible. However, they only did the vegetation on the top of the lift hill. And I'm thinking to myself, upon just looking, I'm thinking about all this as I'm walking up. I'm coming from the Haunted Mansion side of Frontierland. I'm slowly kind of strolling with my 2 little young daughters on hand. We're just kind of strolling it. The heat, first of all, is just bearing down on us.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, the heat this week, I know and my wife had to stay home, but it was raining here, I guess, a lot, it seems like.
Yeah, it was.
It was raining a lot here. I could see through the Ring camera, but at home, back in Disney World, man, that heat wasn't playing.
Oh.
That was like the sun in like Ricky's Runaway Railway. He wasn't as happy. I think he was a pissed off sun, just beaming down. We were just like through Frontierland. I'm looking, and there's Tiana's. I'm walking up. I see vegetation, and I walk up to it. I get close to it. I'm like, oh, it's a hill with a lot of unshaved hill. It's a mound of some sort.
So you're saying that mountain's definitely not Brazilian?
No, it is not Brazilian.
Yeah, okay.
There was a Brazilian tour group that passed me, which is funny. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, you know what would have fixed this? If they would have flanked the drop hill with other cypress trees just as tall. And then it's like, you can make the argument, yeah, they are in a bayou. It's just a bunch of tall cypress trees. I would have bought that.
Okay.
But looking at pictures and stuff, it's like, I don't really see cypress knees or cypress tree-like structures and stuff. And it's like, well, they obviously didn't notice that when they came on their trips. And I'm thinking, I'm not a visual artist, I do performing arts and stuff, but I'm thinking that would have helped the whole argument. That would have helped mask the fact that it's some kind of elevated bayou sort of thing, right?
I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
It still doesn't look like a swamp.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if you could have had it, but it also would have made it blend in, which maybe that's what they didn't want. They
wanted it to stand out.
If they wanted to stand out. Then in that case, the trees don't really.
I could see that.
Once they lost Mama Odie's house, it lost all sense of perspective.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, there was just no way to do it where it's not a, as you put it, elevated bayou.
Yeah. Other than that, that's the main thing that I could see. I walked around it, but the walls are all still up. But that's the most striking thing that I thought of. Rachel, did you have any thoughts as far as like how it looks? I know you probably saw it from behind the wall as well.
Yeah, I did see it from behind the wall. I really like the water tower with Tiana's crown on it. That's my favorite part. I think it looks pretty cool. I also have seen pictures of it at night, and it is really pretty at night. Like the way they light it up and stuff, like it looks really, really pretty at night. So, but that's all I've seen really so far.
Right. And so I'm glad you brought up the lighting and stuff, because that's one of the things that'll lead us into the POV that Disney officially released, because part of the POV was shot at night. Some of it you could tell was during the day, but inside the attraction in of itself, if you've seen it, hopefully you've probably seen it by now if you're any kind of Disney fan. You've probably seen it, or maybe you haven't seen it because you don't like spoilers.
Oh, I guess we should say spoilers, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want to know what's going on in this video, or you want to be surprised on June 28th whenever you go and you book with Rachel and stuff and you go during the trip and visit it.
There's still time.
There's still time, yes, absolutely. Although I did hear that park reservations for Magic Kingdom were sold out on the 28th. Is that right? Do you know anything about that?
That is true, but if you buy a dated ticket, that doesn't matter.
Oh, you can still get in.
Yeah.
That's why she's a travel agent, folks.
Yep.
So book a vacation through Rachel, and she'll hook you up and get you in there for the opening date of Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
That's right.
So is it safe to say that we've all seen this video?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've all seen the video. Now, the POV, the official POV that Disney released on their Disney Parks YouTube channels and all their social media of their attraction that hasn't opened yet. Which is crazy. Which is crazy because it's what?
Usually it's the vloggers, right, that come in and they shoot it all and then they put it together and they post it online, and it feels like something that Disney just allows to happen. And Disney got way ahead of it this time, and they put out their own POV, which I'm not sure they've ever done that before.
They've never done that before.
I can't think of a time they've ever done that before. I think this is incredibly smart by them.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I applaud them for doing it like this, because they're basically like, yeah, all you YouTubers, y'all made sure y'all had your park reservations and y'all were going to be all set and ready because y'all got your videos out. You're going to be recording everything. We already beat you to the punch by a month.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Yeah. I think it's also smart because I didn't take it from that perspective. I took it from the fact that maybe they're crowdsourcing reaction to this, of which they're getting a lot of reaction to this video. Ooh. Right? And so, I mean, I don't know if I've checked out some of the comments. I've checked out a lot of the responding videos and as much as I could in the short amount of time that I had for today's show.
Same.
But I didn't want to do too much because I didn't want it to taint my opinions. Right.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're getting a lot of feedback. If they think from a business perspective, you put out your product, you want to see how it goes a month out before it opens, or maybe a little less than a month out Oof, I don't know.
I was surprised they didn't turn off the comments after a while.
Yeah,
wow.
I know that was quite interesting.
I wonder too if part of why they were willing to put out this POV video that they produced themselves is because the ride path itself is not new. And so they're not like spoiling the ride mechanism or some new technology that they're using. Like, we already know exactly what the ride is going to be. We just don't know the story and the way it's decorated and the animatronics and things. Anyway, so I just thought like maybe they were more willing to put it out because there weren't a lot of like surprises that they would be giving away.
Fair enough. That could be it.
Could see that.
It's interesting you said we don't know what the story is. I still don't quite exactly know what the story is.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think, again, there's possibilities that we missed out on parts of the story because that video was cut at points.
It was cut at points.
And
yeah.
we don't know what they're setting up in the queue.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say is that I wonder how much of the story is set up in the queue. Disney does that all the time. They have like a video going before you get on and it gives you the whole beginning of the story. And so when I watched the video, I felt like maybe there was a lot that happened in the queue to set this up. And now that would make a ton of sense, like just getting on this adventure through the Bayou if I had gotten all that preview.
Right. It goes along with their whole scene one thing that they've been doing for the past several years and stuff. Before we delve into it, just based upon overall opinions and facts, kind of like we did with a movie review, what were your guys' thoughts immediately just after watching it for the first time? We kind of go around the room and see what people think.
I'll quote Joni Mitchell in saying they paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. It's a nice step forward in terms of technology, but it's about a 50-foot drop backwards in terms of story and creativity and engaging scenery. I'm not going to give away too much beyond that. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Eli?
Yeah, there was some things in there I thought was interesting. I thought that there were some aspects of other attractions, at least that I saw, that they kind of incorporated. So I was like, I guess this is their step in moving forward. So that was pleasant to see. But yes, at the same time, and like you guys said, maybe they were cuts in the video or something, but there was some parts that I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Story-wise, if you compared it to Splash Mountain kind of had layers. This didn't really give me that impression. But as far as the visual and as far as like audio, music and stuff that they were pumping in there, yeah, I can see this being something that while I'm dead, people far beyond would be like, this is the best ride ever. I can totally see people saying that love this movie. So if you're a big fan of the movie, I guess, yeah, you'll be all over it.
I don't know. I was a big fan of the movie, and I'm like, this is what they did to her story?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the movie, yeah.
I mean, I know people that dress like these characters for Halloween and sing the song, so that's what I'm thinking. That
Well, sure, but I know people like dressed up as Anna and Elsa, but that doesn't mean that they look at Frozen Ever After and say, that's a compelling story. No, it's the exact same freaking story. There's a party. We're all going. Let's go.
Hey.
Yay.
Hey. Yes, I didn't understand, though. I thought we were supposed to be part of something being cooked. And some parts of that I was kind of confused. I'm not getting into any details, but there was some parts I was going through that I was like, where is some of that at as far as the characters and what they would do to interact with us?
Cool. Thanks, Eli. Rachel, what do you think?
Okay, so I always have some positive things to say. So I'm not going to disappoint.
Which is
Here
great.
No, we need that.
The balance and the force on this show. I love it.
Yes. So I really love that they didn't just retell the story of the movie. I think that's really good.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would have been disappointed if it was just a retelling of the movie. So I'm glad it wasn't. It's an original story. I like that. I also really thought, the animatronics look awesome. We've seen those before. So they weren't like a surprise, but they could have been those weird projection face ones, and they weren't. They look really good. They're the kind of animatronics we've been wanting, the ones that we've seen in Tokyo and the other Asian parks, and now we have them. And so that's really cool. I'm excited about that. They look great. I hope they work consistently.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
So I'm hoping for that. So I really like the animatronics. I really like that it's an original story. I think that a lot of the scenes were visually beautiful. I liked how they looked. I thought it looked very pretty. Took me to a different place. I felt like I was in a different world. Yeah. We can get into more of the specifics about the story and the ride through after. I have some thoughts when we get to that. But I think overall, I'm going to enjoy the ride, and I'm looking forward to going on it.
Yeah, I want to agree with what she said there, because I've seen some people questioning why not just retell the story of Princess and the Frog, and it's like, are you serious? Like, how? You're in a bayou, in a boat, going through, we're already stretching the laws of physics just with the mountain that's elevated and to become a swamp. Like, how are we supposed to go through the quarter into cemeteries, into the swamps? I mean, into places.
Yeah. Oh, that's easy.
Without facility.
It's a shotgun.
Right.
Yeah. It's a shotgun wedding.
Shotgun wedding.
Well, I'm glad they didn't try to do that. And I feel like we have enough of those rides. We don't need another one of those.
I would agree.
It's funny. I mean, I'll get to my point in a second, but it's funny. I wouldn't mind a little bit of it, the story retelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the ET ride in Universal. Ooh. It didn't retell the story, but it had action sequences that were kind of in the movie itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then they took you to some freaking far off up planetary world,
yes.
world. It's like, I didn't expect it to go this way.
That's
so
fair.
I would have been cool with that.
Yeah,
it's like maybe there's some elements. Maybe there's this element where Facilier escapes. He's like, escape my friends on the other side, and then he creates this mountain, and he drops you, and then he gets back into his friend's capture. I don't know.
Right,
that's a good point.
No, I do think it was a major mistake not to bring back Facilier, for sure. I don't give a damn if you're trying to say he got sucked into the other side. There's nothing to say he couldn't have made another deal and escaped the other side, that we couldn't have put him back into the ride.
Yeah, I mean, Madame Leota's right across the bay. She could, or not the bay. What is it? Rivers America. She totally could have brought him back for a second.
Yeah, or to have a new henchman. Like you said, when you used to have the Terminator ride, you brought me back for a second, and it was like, they're going to show us the T-1000, but they had this other T-something that flew action.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's
So
true.
introducing a new character, if you will, still not a bad idea.
Marie Laveau.
You're going to retell it. Yeah.
But unless they completely redid the infrastructure of that ride, you have to feel like you're in a swamp.
Yeah,
the entire way through. There's no way that you feel like you're in the quarter or a plantation or a home or, like I said, I think one of the end scenes is in the cemetery. It's like, how do you do that? And you're in a boat in a bayou. Like, come on.
Well, it's hurricane. It's
yeah.
Oh Lord,
that happened.
Don't you traumatize me?
If you remember, the cemetery came to us.
Oh man,
oddly enough.
Yes, I remember some of those.
There were coffins that floated down the street.
It was like poltergeist. Don't do
what happened during Katrina, which is odd.
Oh man.
So the cemeteries visited us.
Yes,
that was some nasty water.
Yeah, it was nasty water. But yeah, I mean, so listeners of the show know that I'm a big proponent of New Orleans, and so I'm probably the last person that's let this go and stuff. I gave it a fair shot. I watched the video, and one of my initial thoughts is, man, there's some interesting color choices there. Number one was my first thought. And number two was like, they're missing a lot of kinetic energy that used to be in Splash Mountain.
Oh yeah,
there's a little animatronics here and there. Yes, I know they're missing a lot of animatronics, but there's a lot of standstill things that you pass through that are missing some little itty bitty gags. Like for instance, in Splash Mountain, there's that little frog singing on an alligator or a hammock, and his foot was tied to a fishing line, floater.
Yes,
and every now and then when it would just twitch. It's just little things like that were kind of missing as I was going through the ride.
Visual gags, yes.
Visual gags and just something to keep the energy moving and on. And then, Eli and I were talking off air just before we started recording, and because I was asking about the color choice, it's like, yeah, the color choice, mostly purples and stuff, where you said were calming and whatnot, right? And so I'm like, well, maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe that's why there's not as much kinetic energy and stuff. And then my next thought was like, well, if one of these animatronics goes down, I mean, is there a B mode for this? Because there's not a lot of animatronics. So
yeah,
it's not like Rise of Resistance where like there's B mode Ren. And he's a projection, and then I started thinking to myself, so why do you shoot this at night? The outside scenes at night. Well, and then I've realized, so they want to connect it to the inside stuff, which has to be at night. I was talking to my daughters, and it's like, that's weird that it's at night, huh? And one of my oldest, she's like, well, I mean, there's fireflies, so it's not like you can see them during the day.
Sure.
I'm like, oh,
that's true.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why the inside has to be at night.
Makes sense.
Because of the fireflies.
Yes.
How do you transition it into... I'm getting into details, but I was just going to ask Eli if purple gives any transition from day to night. Because it's going to look different, the daytime elements going into the nighttime show scenes.
Purple does. But this is more like a kind of off lavender, but purple does it because it gives you that impression of is day going into like that dusk, going into like that early part of evening,
like a sunset kind of feel, twilight kind of a coloring,
like a little later than that. But yeah, because whenever you have that kind of mood, or in other cases though, it also leads to earlier part of a sunrise as well. So yeah, I mean, you have other blues and whatnot if you're going to get into the evening part of it to mix it with. But yeah, that is a part of it.
That's interesting because if you remember, Splash Mountain was really bright daylight.
Yes.
There was no doubt what it was, what time of day. And I noticed that Tiana's was like very much nighttime. And so I guess to your point, yeah, the use of color, those colors help to transition people that are riding it during the day into the nighttime scenes and vice versa, I guess.
Yeah,
Possible.
but like we said too, there's the sign. The sign.
Oh,
is,
it's true. Yeah.
The sign is lavender as well, or purple, whatever you want to call it. So I mean, maybe it's to match that, give you the impression that hey, you're going into this restaurant, or whatever this is, and the sign is the start of it. Hits all of the color scheme, and then when you leave out of it, you get the same sign, which is of the same color. So maybe that's how they wanted to unify it. But it's still an odd color choice.
It is. So anyway, just to wrap that all my point up, it's just I'm just kind of meh about it. You know, I still maybe if I write it and I see that scene one as Rachel was mentioning in the queue, that'll help set up the story. Maybe it'll convince it it's a little better than that. But I'm gonna stick with just a meh feeling.
Yeah. May is a step up for you right now.
Is it?
With the way you've been
you've
bashing.
been really passionate about some of the things that are wrong. So he's right. That is a step up.
May is like a couple of rungs up.
I'll
to
take that.
positivity,
I'll take that.
There
Yeah.
you go. I like it.
I mean, you know, it's and for you that are listening to the show and you're like, oh, here's another show that's just going to bash it. It's like, look, you can choose a good all you want, but you never know how to define a good if you don't know what a bad is.
Right.
And vice versa. I don't know what bad is unless I know what a good is.
Mm-hmm. And you can not have a comparison when you have a ride that is basically a reskinned version of a ride that existed prior to that.
Yes.
So that begs the comparison right then and there. Which one was better? And whose mind isn't going to go that way?
Yeah, this is true. And I mean, I'm happy to have that ride system back online.
Sure, 100%. Same. Yeah.
But as we'll get into in a little bit, the story, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, let's start.
Yeah, let's get into it. Where do you want to start with?
I would like to start with addressing something that you said earlier, which I could not agree more. Yes.
Okay.
The clear strength of this attraction over Splash Mountain, the clear advantage it always had over it, it was always going to have over it, is the technology. It's unquestionable that the animatronics are impressive. The movement is so fluid. The range of motion is just incredible. But while the newer attractions may be 1,000 times more technically advanced, the show scenes, as you put it, kind of felt lifeless to me as I was watching it. It was like these characters, these animatronics were placed at random points along the ride, and there's nothing visually engaging or appealing about what they're doing. Whereas when you think of the older animatronics, you're going to think of Brer Bear's big butt being caught in that rope trap, or with the beehive on his nose, or Brer Gator chewing on Brer Fox's tail, trying to escape through the briar patch.
Oh, the frog chilling, fishing, doing the, yeah.
Every scene felt impactful. It managed to convey way more emotion with way less movement through the use of humor and storytelling. And because of that, those scenes to me and those animatronics to me almost work better than these animatronics, which are clearly better. But those animatronics, as soon as you saw them, you started laughing. Like immediately you were engaged. You weren't like, yeah, that's cool, but he's not moving and only his arms would flail out. No, and that seems to be what these newer animatronics do. They look great, and the mouth movement and the main range of motion is fluid, but they're just standing there waving their arms around as they're talking. They're not really engaged in doing anything that's memorable, humorous. So the one strength it has over it, it almost loses it because they really don't make the most of those animatronics.
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm thinking, man, I would love to have like a Tiana chopping vegetable sequence or something. Because, you know, in the movie, she was like, she schooled Naveen. It's like, here you do.
Yeah.
Like Yan Can Cook, kind of.
Yeah, can cook. The Iron Chef.
It's like the equivalent of going on a date with a model who looks wise is a 10, but there's no personality, there's no charm, there's no humor, and you'd rather be with somebody less physically attractive but more emotionally engaging, somebody who's going to bring joy out of you, right? Then something like, man, that's a 10 right there, but there's no substance.
And that's the thing, and I think that last part is really a key right there, because yes, I agree. As a good visually, there's parts of that video that's like, wow, that's nice. Like again, I think the Firefly sequence, right? This is what I would call it. It had like this Finding Nemo. As you go through it, you see the sequence because it's like Tiana, she's there in the fireflies and all this other stuff. Like, okay, that's new. You've not going to see that often. It also had that Navi River journey feel.
Yes.
It did, yeah.
Very much so.
You're tripping out a lot. There's mushrooms for you to chew on right there. And you're looking, the lights are blinking and everything like that. So, yes, it had enough to even looking at the video, it had my attention visually. And I think the animatronics were great.
Yes.
Absolutely. No argument about that. I was more impressed by the way they animated Louis, almost more so than Tiana. Not that Tiana was bad. It's just like to make an alligator do all of that stuff is
and
like,
the
wow.
belly movement that goes
like,
with it. Yeah.
Oh, technically that's pretty sound. But yes, if you do take it a step above that visual, none of those pieces are cohesive. If you take like Splash Mountain, each time you went down a layer before you, or up a layer, if you will, that you were going to be dropped. If you remember, you knew it was going to get scary because they would start playing like,
the music
changed,
changed,
the light would change. Yeah, everything looked sinister. You're like, I'm not ready for this. And this didn't really give me that same thing. It was almost, while it looked awesome, everything looked disjointed. Like you guys were saying, are we an ingredient? Are we on an adventure? I didn't even know. I just was like, okay, I'm not a vegan. None of this appeals to me. It's all vegetables.
You didn't like the dancing okra plants that were in the front?
I mean, like I was waiting for someone to chase a chicken or something and then like throw that into the stew, because I don't know outside of vegetable soup what we make here that has no meat in it that I eat. But that's just a peculiar thing on my own thing. I also liked visually the Pepto-Bismol bottle. That was
Pepto-Bismol bottle.
Yeah, there's a big bottle in there.
When they shrink you down to the size of a frog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mama already does the
There's
thing.
a purple thing in there. You didn't see the purple
No, I missed out
It
on
took
that.
me a while to figure out what had just happened as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I was going to bring that up. Was that the part of the ride that completely lost me was the shrinking you down part. Like, I'm hoping that when I ride it, it makes a little bit more sense. But, well, first of all, I didn't really realize I had been shrunk down. I was just like, oh, why is everything big now? And she tells you that she's making you big again so you can go to the party. And I was like, oh, we were small. I missed that.
Yes. That's what I thought the
You're not
Pepto
alone.
was for, to make everything go down easier as you accepted this terrible story.
I was a little confused. So I'm hoping that when I ride it, it'll make more sense. On video, a lot of stuff gets lost. So
Yeah, it does.
But that was the one part of the ride that I was like, whoa, you really lost me there. And I was trying.
Yes.
I didn't like that Eli brought up the whole idea with the screens and everything before. I like the idea of the screens when it's background.
Yeah,
the
same here.
fireflies.
Yeah.
But when they start using the screens, and they really used it in that scene that we were just discussing, where now you're seeing the characters all up and they're like looking down, and they're fully animated versions of Mama Odie up top, like, hey, I need to make it big again so you can make a big splash. Like, I was like, why did all this have to be done with animation? Like, why could not? This is where you need animatronics. This is where a good animatronic.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
didn't understand why we had to be small.
I think because they just want to do a scene where you shrunk down to the size of a frog, and they needed something to do with that laughing place area. They didn't know what to
Okay.
do with it.
I was just like, why am I small? I don't get that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't get it either, but and I watched it a couple of times and I realized Lewis was trying to dive in there. It's like, and he's stuck. It doesn't really convey him. I'm like, oh, okay, so Oda made us small enough so we can get through, and Lewis can't.
We're frogs.
Yeah, we're itty bitty frogs, but it was never really explained thoroughly in the story why we did that.
And
Yeah.
like you said, maybe once you take the ride, it's different. But
I
yeah.
believe there was a band in there that was like a Firefly band or something like that. There's an
they're
itty bitty
playing,
band.
like Latino music, kind of
something
stuff.
like that.
It's like salsa music,
Like, so-
which I
Okay,
like. Actually, I like
missed
that version of that song as a salsa, which kind of kicks. But
my
it
goodness.
wasn't quite easily conveyed. I mean, let's think about it here. In Toy Story Mania, when you're walking through the queue, you do get shrunk to the size of a toy, and you end up in Andy's bedroom. It's just a hallway.
Yeah, but
You
it's
get
a
shrunk.
gradual thing. You start to realize as you go. This is very sudden.
It's abrupt, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know Odie just kind of drops you into it. And, the part of that ride that goes dark is that roller coaster element that goes up and down and up, if you remember, as you go into the laughing place. So that's probably why it blacked out. But, I always felt like Splash Mountain could have done something with that part, even with just lighting,
Sure.
and I felt like Disney probably could have added some lighting in that roller coaster sequence to make it feel different or make a step
maybe.
above Splash Mountain, but I didn't see that. So we just went through the roller coaster section down and up, and then we ended up when there's the frog, and we're small.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, see, first of all, I think Disney should understand, because they've tried this with a couple of things, like with the Tron ride. Like, hey, you're You're being changed from something where you are to something new. That's not really going to work too well unless you really have to go out all out. And that means you can't really remodel something that already exists. You have to change it all. So might be a suggestion, just saying, maybe you got to start getting like NBA players and dress them up or something like that. So that way we're seeing people that are like 7 foot tall, just naturally, just you have to make everything, you know what I mean? Extremely gigantic.
After they locked the NBA players in the Disney World Hotel for like 3 months during the finals, good luck getting any of them to go back.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten elbowed in the head by an NBA player before, so I can say, yes, I do feel short when I'm up against. But in other words, that's a tough illusion to sell to anyone that's already in the middle of a ride. Like, you just can't tell someone that and then be like, pixie dust. Like, no, you got to make everything so huge now at that point.
But I think the idea is it's Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
At some point in time, somebody's got to be a frog somewhere.
No, that's fair.
I mean,
and that frog is you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. But then that means everything, again, though, the constraint of the ride from Splash Mountain, you have to, like, change that whole thing to really make you feel that way.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying they did an effective job of it. I'm just saying that was the mindset behind it.
I was going to say that maybe on the video, it doesn't look big. Maybe once you get on the ride,
it looks better.
It looks huge. And so then I'm like, oh, you got me. But other than that, I wouldn't try to pitch that to anyone just in general. Just to be like, hey, look, you're just in another world. We'll just leave it at that.
You would just go with it.
Yeah.
Man, I would have. So here's something that I would have thought of that would have plus this if they would have had the budget and the time to redo it. Is because I had this issue with Splash Mountain as well. It's like there's no doubt that the drop is coming.
Yeah.
Because you go up that big tall lift hill.
Mm-hmm.
I always wish they could have hid that better. And with this redo of Tiana's, I was always thinking that maybe they could have had the technology to where instead of a traditional log ride lift hill where you go like 45 degrees up or whatever else, that maybe you could have done like a raised platform that goes up to where your vehicle it stays parallel to the ground, but you're just going up this hill because Mama Odie's like, magically just lifting you up.
Sure.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, your car's lifting you up. And then you have all kind of scenes or lighting.
No, you just kill the lights. You just kill all the lights when that happens.
Oh, so kind of like Tower Terror? Like?
Yeah, you're just completely disoriented. And you know what I mean? Cause
that would be cool, yeah.
Because now someone telling you and you're just hearing it. You're not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Then you could, I
well,
get
they're using some of that 3D sound technology they've had for a while. That would have worked that
I was going to say, y'all two have really got a whole lighting thing going.
Yeah.
Light makes an effect.
Every time the conversation goes, it's like lighting.
I mean, because they use it so weirdly here. It's like some of the color choices, I'm like, it reminds me of Navi River Journey.
But like I said, the animatronics are used just as weirdly. There was a section there that I thought was kind of odd, where you're coming up on Tiana, and she's up there, but it takes you a little while to get there, and she's just sitting there, just kind of swaying back and forth, swaying back and forth, swaying back and forth.
She's stimming,
swaying back and forth, and then finally you get up there, and she's like, "Hey, y'all, so we're doing good, but we're not there yet. We need to keep on looking." Like, really? That's we waited. We're just sitting here watching her awkwardly just swaying like we're not there, waiting for us to get all the way up there so she could tell us a piece of pretty useless information.
You know why you know that? Because it was light on her. That's what we tried to say.
I'm just saying, like, when it comes to making sense of this stuff,
yes.
I mean, you got to realize that they were working with the constraints of the existing ride system.
I agree with that.
And so they had to do their best that they could with it. I'm sure that the Imagineers would have loved to have blue skied this. And that's what we kept saying. Tiana deserved better than this. She deserved her own ride that wasn't already pre-existing where everything had to fit there. It would have been nice if you could have gone through the quarter.
I would like to know what got budgeted out.
Oh, that's
like what
good.
the Imagineers, the creatives came up with that would have been awesome that got budgeted out.
Well, something changed because the story was different, clearly. And that they decided to make it about finding the little musicians, which I think is really cute. That wasn't the initial story we were all sold. And so not only did the story change, but it changed like last minute because they had made like media announcements about the old story, and now it's not that anymore.
No. And the same with the exterior. The exterior changed where you're going to be going, like, that was Mama Odie's house up there, and now it just looks like giant broccoli floret. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my oldest brought up a point. It's like, if it was really about finding musicians, it would have been cool if they had, maybe there's some musicians that didn't make it. And that's okay. Yeah, I don't know how they explained who they picked who, but they didn't really say. we like them. Maybe not you this time. Maybe another time. Something like that.
So we're going to transition the story now. Like you want?
Yeah, let's transition because we're talking. I'm looking at the lyrics, and Rachel was talking about how they change stories and stuff, and I'm looking at the final song which they came up with for this attraction, and it's still about your secret spice, which is a story that we were leading up until this maybe a few months ago. We thought was the story was you're looking for the secret ingredient for something,
and the missing ingredient.
The missing ingredient, yeah. At which Danny at one show said, I'm gonna be pissed off if the secret ingredient's you. And I'm looking at the song lyrics, and I'm like, the chorus, which is the hook. The chorus lyrics are, "It's a joyful celebration. You don't need an invitation. It's joyful now. Everyone can see your very special spice makes us complete.
Our spice brings all the boys to the yard."
Your spice
right.
brings all the boys to the yard.
Wow.
But you got to charge.
I'm going to have to charge.
You have to
Disney prices.
That's more than French Quarter prices, boy. I tell you what.
I got to live out here in the quarter.
That hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing that they've gone with here because the story is so tame. Like I'd be like, well, this is so tame and innocuous. It belongs in a Disney dark ride. But then again, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, Alice, all have far more of a sense of danger and troubles to overcome than what Tiana's Bayou Adventure does.
Absolutely.
Like they do deal with villains. They do deal with an element of risk, an element of danger that's ahead. This deals with none of that. Again, the closest I can come up with for this one is Frozen Ever After. It's a party. We're all going.
That's like, I went to the Crystal Palace for dinner one night, and that was the same thing. We're here for a happy whatever celebration.
It's a happy celebration, yeah.
Happy celebration, yeah.
It's a story that's so simple that it can be understood by a 2-year-old. That's your target audience right there. It's a 2-year-old. Except that because of height restrictions, you can't ride this ride until you're at least 4 or 5 years old. And you have to be substantially older than that to understand the notion of an employee co-op. Own food co-op thing. Like, I'm still wrapping my head around that. I don't know, man. When you have multiple drops on a ride, including a 50-foot plunge, your kid has to be pretty brave to ride that thing. So how anyone thought it was a good idea to remove any sense of impending danger before a 50-foot drop is just amazing to me. Like, how do we get to there where this is a celebration? This should be the anticipation. And then, boom, you drop and the kid's, like, relieved they survived it. There is none of that. Mama Odie sounds like this is going to be the best thing in the world to happen to you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like Mama Odie's dropping me, so I'm safe.
Yeah. You're going to be big again.
Which is funny. My oldest also said that Mama Odie, she loves her as a animatronic. She thought she was adorable as him.
Oh, and yes.
She works as an animatronic.
It works really well. They did a very good job with the character.
No one's going to complain about the look of the animatronics.
No, absolutely.
I want Mama Odie's Bayou in a mountain of Bayou.
Yeah?
Yeah, you give me that. Mama Odie's Mountain Bayou Adventure. But I would have been like, all right, let's bring it, Mama Odie. What you got?
Calling this an adventure is pretty liberal use of the word adventure.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what a better use of words would be, but this is not a Bayou adventure. This is more like a Bayou
life story.
Yeah,
I don't
know. Journey.
Bayou Journey.
Yeah. Bayou Journey.
Bayou
Bayou Sachet.
Sometimes there's ups, sometimes there's downs.
Bayou Boredom.
Bayou It's not even a boogaloo.
It's not.
It's definitely not a boogaloo.
Definitely not a Bayou boogaloo.
That's not a boogaloo.
I will say this though. I did think that the final scene that they did looked really good.
I thought it looked pretty cool too.
Yeah, I was a fan of what they did the final scene. Like I thought I was going to miss the whole showboat thing.
The mansion scene.
Yeah, I thought I was going to miss the showboat and everything like that. But no, I thought they did great there. I thought the entry into the ride where they were playing Dr. John was good. I thought that was good, and you're just entering in through the Bayou.
Sure. Well, those are all songs that you recognize from the movie that you're coming as you're going throughout the entire ride.
So they were positives. It's just that, again, I mean, this is what we were worried about, is that the story was going to suffer because of the confined,
the restrictions. Let's just say restrictions. The restrictions that they were placed on them. I would have loved if they're going to use projections in the final scene, if they would have had like a steamboat in the background as an homage to the what is it, the SS Zippity Lady? Or whatever, what was it called?
Yeah, I don't remember.
What that steamship was called?
No, I think you're right. I think it was a Zippity Lady.
Zippity Lady, right? Yeah, because one thing I'll miss from the Zippity Lady is that there's this one chicken on the very end, and she's like,
oh yeah,
she has her mouth in the air, her eyes are closed, and she's swinging that tambourine.
She looks like she's at church on a Sunday.
Yeah, that's it. I love
testifying.
Of all the chickens on that boat, she's my favorite chicken.
I know the chicken.
All of them. You can't miss her because she ain't even singing. She's just like, ah. You know, I love that chicken.
Every time we rode with Kevin, Kevin's like, "You guys, you see that chicken? You see it?
You the best chicken ever, and she thick too.
Ooh, we
But
thick chicken good.
That's right.
Yes.
Juicy. But so we're talking about story, and just for the listeners, we don't know what the scene 1 is.
No.
But still, even if there wasn't a scene 1, we should have some semblance of a story, yeah?
Well, I'm trying to give. That's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to imagine that scene 1 lays out the story as we appreciate it to be, which is that we're going around and around looking for musicians to play at a party, but we're also on the lookout for some kind of secret spice, which is ultimately turns out to be us. It's like you said, it's the Blues Brothers. We're going around looking for musicians.
But I'm cool with.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The last song bothers me a little bit.
Why is that?
Only because it's like I don't know how catchy it is. And I found it on Spotify, and I've listened to
you
it.
did?
I did. It's all on Spotify. Yeah,
Can you play a little bit of it?
I can.
Because I do remember I don't remember it being bad.
No, it's not bad. I think it's too long
Okay.
For a ride?
for a ride. Yes.
Can you play a snippet? Because I didn't have any complaints about the music.
No, all the music and stuff was great.
Yeah, I would say my thought on this song was I didn't know ahead of time. Like, I know they announced it, but I had forgotten when I was watching the video that it was going to be an original song. And so as I was listening to it, I was like, is this from the movie? I can't remember. And then I was like listening to it some more. I was like, no, this is original. But it took me a minute. But I guess that just means it fits in well.
Yeah.
And then I think, I think this is one of those things where this is the ride that 2 generations from now, I would say, they start to view this as a classic.
No.
You know what I mean?
I think this is a ride that they're going to look at as being, hey, that drop's fun. And I think that's what Disney's kind of banking on here.
Yeah.
I think Disney's like, look, these people don't care. Just, drop them down a cliff and take a picture of it and sell it back to them. And they'll be fine.
And to my point with that, I would say is like if it was just a straight up.
Yeah, right. Say what you got to say, Kevin.
That's the first Kevin interrupted his own song.
That flipped me out for a second. I felt like a thick chicken.
You look kind of like a thick chicken. Those thighs, wow. Wait, what was I about to say?
I don't know. You cut your own self off.
What were y'all talking about?
It being a class, I thought it would be a classic ride for people generations later. He disagreed with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's engaging enough as a story in order to be considered a classic. I think the longer you can sit still, not have to move, not have to walk on your feet, and just take in a ride that ultimately ends in a big drop, that ride's going to be fine at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to be classic? I mean, is Expedition Everest classic?
I would say it would be. I mean,
I would disagree.
Because there's no Yeti in it.
Because there's no Yeti in it, because there's not much of a payoff to the journey that you're taking. Is it a great roller coaster ride? Absolutely. Is it a classic? Rachel, you
Sorry. Me and him argue all the time.
Yeah.
We argue just
We'll be doing this off air for 3 more hours.
Yeah.
Your question is Expedition Everest a classic?
Yeah. Do you look at Expedition Everest as if you'd look at, like, say, a Pirates or Small World or
No.
Big Thunder Mountain?
No.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean I don't like it.
Right.
No, absolutely
no.
not. And it doesn't mean we won't like Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It just means that, now we have to judge it against what it was before.
It's a generational thing, though, is the overall point.
I don't know.
I still will argue if Yeti was in there, different argument, but please go forward.
If working Yeti, okay, that's fair.
It's possible. It is possible.
Yes.
But I do think there may have been a little bit more needed. But look.
Discussion for another time.
Yeah, exactly. Neither here nor there.
Yes, we'll do that for another show. But I did find the last final song. If you want to hear it,
yeah, let's hear it.
Have y'all heard it yet? Have anybody?
I heard it on the track,
track?
and I remember thinking, okay, that's kinda, I like that.
So the song's called "Secret Spice," and this is what it is. That's it.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that.
I wonder if they play the whole thing on the ride. I mean, I know you don't hear the whole thing.
Yes,
You're not
that's
there.
the weirdest thing of it. It's like if you have a catchy tune like that, that is way too long. I mean, listeners, I played the long version for them. Listeners, you probably got a snippet. No, but it's like I'm curious. It's like how are they editing this? Because I couldn't tell on the video. It's like most of the songs that are catchy, like Mickey's Runaway Railway, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a great big beautiful tomorrow. Zippity doo dah.
Oh, it's no zippity
It's
doo.
very simple. It's one chorus, it's one verse, and that's it. It repeats over and over again.
Sure.
That ain't fair. You can't compete. You can't put.
Yeah,
that
but
up
you can't because this song is much longer than those songs.
I was going to say it's not fair, but yes, he's right. You can compare it because it took the spot of Zippity Doo Dah.
Yeah.
That's like saying you can't judge Steve Young because he took Joe Montana's spot. Yeah, you can.
because he took Joe Montana's spot.
Exactly, yeah.
That ain't Joe Montana through a lot. I'm just.
Yeah, Zippity Doo Dah had a history before the ride came along, but it was that style of song. But now you have a new, unique song, which is great. I like it, but
I don't mind it.
I don't know how you edit it to where it's like it makes it a catchy tune. You're humming it. Like I remember
That's
when
catchy,
Mickey's Running
yeah.
Rail. It is, but if they don't edit it right, you might roll through it while there's verses happening. You're not going to remember the verse.
Wait, okay, question.
You want the chorus.
Question.
Yes.
Okay, so when is this being played again? At the end?
At the end, when they're all in the quarter, they're dancing. The Veen shows up finally.
But that's not a bad song to walk out to happy. Like, I can see somebody singing like I was doing. I was snapping
I
my
was fine.
fingers.
Oh no! But if they don't, that's my point. It's like if they don't edit it right for that attraction, it won't be catchy.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Is like when I saw the video, I never said to myself, "Oh, that sounds wrong."
It's not wrong. It's just like, are you going to walk out of there singing that?
If I'm comparing it to Mickey's Runaway Railway, I think the Mickey's Runaway Railway song is way catchier.
Oh yeah.
And you know why? Because
'Cause
it's
how they
just
end.
like
Sure.
Zippity Doo Dah. It's a chorus and a verse, and it alternates, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we've got intro, verse, chorus, verse, bridge.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a bridge. There's no
see.
attraction with a bridge in the song that's totally different.
No, you're
And
right.
then you go back to chorus. It's like, okay, how do you cut this?
There's
We are
a lot
not
of
musicians,
verbiage.
but now I get what you're saying.
Yeah, see, if you're thinking about literary, there's a lot of verbiage. It's not like Clear and Cut Chase where it's Mickey's Runaway or Zippity Doo Dah or Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow or it's, whatever song. It's not a verse and a chorus that goes back and forth.
Wow.
You're not walking about, I mean, this is from my music brain.
Yeah,
Yeah, you went all creative buff right there. That's okay.
It's
That's
not,
okay.
because I'm like, what's wrong with the song?
I
like
see what
the
you're
song.
saying now.
Yeah,
it makes
I
a
get
lot
that.
more sense.
Yeah.
I just don't think that for 99.9% of the world, that's going to be a problem.
Because we're not musicians.
Yeah, but but even if you're not musicians, that's the thing that gets you is the hook.
Oh, I agree.
But if you pass through there and the hook is not happening, you're not going to remember that.
All right, but I mean, we're always talking about
Yeah.
a step back in story, a step back in show scenes,
True,
a step
true.
back in
Sure.
music is not really that much of a.
But the visuals look great.
I got a question for you. I said this before we saw what the story was going to be. I said that there's no Dr. Facilier in this ride. You
I
can't.
know, I thought of you.
Yeah, you can't go higher than a B if there's no Dr. Facilier in this ride, is what I said. And by the way, I'm really confused because that would have been a perfect time for him to show up right at the end, like all of a sudden where you see some barrier that just gets broken. He breaks through from the other side. He's made a new deal. He's done whatever he had to do, and he's back. And he's like, you know what? I liked you better when you were frogs. And boom, you turn into frogs. He's sitting you over there, and boom, Mama Odie saves you at the last second. When you that to me would have worked so much better now. But neither here nor there. Do y'all agree? Does this start off at a lower grade, at least a one-letter lower grade? Like if the highest you can get is an A. Are we automatically at a B because there's no Dr. Facilier in this ride?
I would have to say, without writing it, that it's. I would have to say B- without him because there's no.
Oh, so you drop it even more than one letter grade.
But that's like I said. Without writing, maybe once I write, I'm like, I give it a B. But yes, even Splash Mountain had the again, like I said earlier, that
No, like,
the
I'm
thing
saying,
of threat. But yes,
I'm saying forget about writing it. I mean, we've seen what we've seen. We know he's not there. Do you think that is gross mismanagement of the Princess and the Frog property that Dr. Facilier, one of the best Disney villains ever, my personal favorite villain, is not in this attraction?
I agree. Yes, a villain should definitely be in the attraction. That's part of the history, the mythos, if you will, of this ride. Should be in there. Every other ride has their own villain in it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, not every ride. I mean, again, like Frozen Ever After does not.
Okay, fair.
I don't like all this. Hey, let's get together for a happy celebration thing on a ride that you need to be somewhat brave in order to ride. You need to be somewhat older in order to ride.
And I don't want to say, and I'll let everybody else jump forward, but I want to say, in this time of wokeness, why the brother couldn't be represented? That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, the sister's represented.
That's true. Yes, but
Yeah.
She is. Yeah.
well, that's fair.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard not having written it. Like, I really try not to judge things on the videos because I just don't enjoy them the same way that way.
But you got to be fair. They did purposely release this video for this kind of reaction.
Yeah.
There's a purpose for that.
I wouldn't say it's an automatic B for me just because of Dr. Facilier. I could still be an A. I could still walk off that ride having ridden it in person and think like A+, love it. Right now, I don't feel that way. But when I get on it and I see it and it's around the smell. I haven't smelled the smells yet. Supposedly they're good at the smells.
That's a great point.
Yes.
That's the cooking.
I haven't smelled the smells yet. Like, there's things that I cannot experience on a video screen.
This is true.
So
This is true.
I cannot really rate it yet. But I'm not like, we'll put it this way. I can only imagine that their hope was they were going to release this video and people are going to be like, heck yeah, Rachel, book me for summer right now.
I want that too.
We want that too.
100%.
We want all that. We want them to see it and figure out what's what and call you.
I have to imagine that's what Disney wanted. And I'm not sure that that's like, I watched the video and I thought like, I can wait.
Yep.
But not wait to call you. Anybody listening, don't wait to call Rachel. We'll tell you, do that later.
There are really good prices this summer. It is a good time to go.
Yes,
but
100%.
That video isn't like, I'm not searching flights.
No.
That's an excellent point, Rich, because I feel that this right now that's not enough to make me want to go down there and experience it.
I would agree.
I would only
I'll do it when I get there, but I'm not making a special trip.
You know what, though? You just made me think of something. Now, we have a fellow friend of ours who reminded us that sometimes it wasn't always about the adult. It was always about trying to go at the kid and then make the kid try to have you go out and jump on and book something based upon what they're seeing there. Now, maybe that's the case here.
Oh, I tell you what my kids said. My 15-year-old said, I'm going to ride it because it's a log flume attraction anyway. But it looks like it's thrown together. My two younger ones, which are 9 and 12, they've said, this looks kind of boring.
Maybe so.
Oh, wow.
You think that, but do you think there's a majority of children?
Lily said it looked all right, but
Okay.
she wasn't that worried about it. She liked Splash Mountain better.
Did your kids see it, Rachel?
No, they didn't. We've had a crazy weekend.
Oh, okay. I'd be curious to see what they think. Yeah.
My grandson likes Luca. He's not even aware of what this is yet.
Anna was like, really? What? They got rid of it for this? Like,
wow.
That's what Anna said.
Yeah, but that's what I wonder. I wonder if there's a look like, oh my God, Tiana, we gotta go now. I don't know if that's the factor that they're going for.
To me, doing this without Dr. Facilier would be like doing a story on Sleeping Beauty and leaving out Maleficent. I think he's that crucial to that story. He's easily, to me, the best character in Princess and the Frog.
Okay, my grade, I'm giving it a C based on this video at the moment, and that's only because, and I'm very staunch about our culture, and I'm very stubborn about it. I'll say even bullish. To use an Iger term, I'm bullish about the New Orleans culture, but I like having the music all the way constantly through. I'm curious to see what to do with that end theme song, how they edit it, because if they keep it like it is and just loop it, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, it's not going to be catchy. It's not going to be like Runaway Railway. Right. There's a lot of dead space. There's a lot of like non-kinetic energy spaces that remind me of Navi River Journey.
All right, Kevin Miranda, what's happening?
Yeah, I know you could have just zipped me through like a log flume ride, like every other log flume ride, and I would have been just as happy.
I'm still waiting for lightning to come up.
I'm like, yeah, you judging this on a slant, like they say in Bad Boys.
Lighting and music.
I am.
You saw it on the video, but for the sake of context of the original question, without Dr. Facilier in there,
I still give it a C.
So you drop it 2 grades.
I drop it 2 grades.
Dr. Facilier.
Oh, great!
Wow, I only went 1 grade. Okay.
He went with music though. It's like,
yeah.
So he took
losing friends on the other side is a big deal.
Dude, oh my God, dude, having him
Are
raise
you ready?
you?
Yeah, that's imaginary malpractice.
Oh, I like that term. I like that term.
I'm serious. That is imaginary malpractice.
Are they malpractice, or is it they're just being like choked into doing like this?
It's malpractice. It's skullduggery. It's chicanery. It's shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's whatever all that.
Yeah, Magneto was right. No, I think this fact that the executives went down, they came down here, they hung out, they partied, and woo, what a great time. And they never thought about the aspect that we're known for on a more darker end, which would have helped to translate to the Dr. Facilier character.
That is an excellent point.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah.
I have a few every
And
now
just
and
for
then.
I give Danny an A for skullduggery. I appreciate him
thank
working
you.
in the podcast.
The malpractice.
No, I give him an A for skullduggery.
That boy
Skullduggery.
good. That good genius right there. Malpractice. That's imaginary. What is it? What is it again?
Imaginary malpractice.
Imaginary malpractice.
Yes.
Call this man 1-800-malpractice.
Call Harry Burns.
Yes, if you're imaginary, you feel wrong, we got a whole hotline for you.
No, but what you just said is an amazing point because, yes, New Orleans is known as the most haunted city in America.
Totally.
People come down here all the time. What do? They do ghost tours. They do cemetery tours. They go see Marie Laveau's grave. I mean, that is a part of our culture to lose the darkness. Again, in a ride, a ride that demands you be mature enough to handle. That is,
you go through doctors and go through a drop like that's just asking for it. I mean, like, you know, if you're from New Orleans, most people know, like, they don't usually use too many landmarks. They say, you know, turn by the cemetery. That's what we locals will have right there.
Dude, I would have been happy with, like, Marie Laveau saying, fine, the facility couldn't do it. I'll do it myself.
Yeah. There's a lot that could have been had within that ride. And again, maybe it's something where they're like, no, we just want to keep this light in them because this is a place where you go to party. But yeah, there's other aspects, and that's how storytelling is. And if you're the master of storytelling, like we've covered with the Iger episode, where he's like, oh, well, you know, it's not our fault. These other things happen. No, this is one of those seeds. These are one of those things where it's like, you guys went there, you came here, you partied, glad you had a good time. But I'm pretty sure wherever you went, you passed by a cemetery. That's literally what we got around here. And if you didn't decide at that point to be like, God, dog, we got this character we could totally put in the ride to help us situate it. I mean,
wait a second. You don't know that it wasn't them and then some guy in the boardroom saying, no, we want 2-year-olds to ride this and feel non-threatened.
Fair enough. I don't know. But if they still send someone down here to investigate, then does that mean that their point isn't as strong as the person who was sitting in the ivory tower?
Yes, it happens a lot, actually.
I like saying ivory tower. I just wanted to say that.
That's because you are ivory.
That's it.
You're ivory.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
That's terrible, then. Again, it's still the
people who are on the ground like, boss, you need this. No, doesn't make sense. No, that's not what we're going to do. That's not
Can't afford it.
Get one. That happens all the frickin' time. So we don't know what they went back and reported back to their bosses they should do and what they ultimately did do. Because as Rachel pointed out before, there have been several changes in the iteration of this ride that we were told that we were getting.
But that, to his point, it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like I'd love to see what ended up on the cutting room floor.
I would too.
From the Imagineers as opposed to what actually happened.
Somebody put that on Reddit so we can find it.
I don't think we're ever going to get that.
We're never going to get that unless we find like some guy that's like willing to chat with us in California.
Some random sketches that they posted.
JP, find us some guys.
That would give me some hope. That would absolutely.
Oh yeah. I guarantee you, there's some Imagineer out there who's like, you can't do this without Dr. Facilier. And somebody said, nope. We want it to be nice. It's going to be pleasant. It's going to be a celebration. We want to be happy. We don't want them thinking that they're plummeting to their doom. No, that would be negative thoughts. We want happy thoughts.
And the guy's like, fine, I'll go to Universal where my ideas are.
And that goes back to my beginning point. It's like you never know what's a negative thought unless you have a happy thought to compare it against.
But what Eli just said, this is what Universal like hangs their hat on, isn't it? Like, yeah, look at this is exactly it. It's like here's this ride with this 50-foot drop that should be full of excitement and adventure and daring and danger and risk and intrigue, and they've completely got all that out of it, and it's like, no, it's just a happy fun time, but we're falling, but it's a nice fall. It's a pleasant
it's a calm fall.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, and that's what Universal's like. It's like, yeah, when you're done with all that kid, come over here.
Yeah, totally.
I won't go as low as a C as you did, Kevin. You went right C.
I went right C. Yes.
I would. I'm just going to drop it one letter grade without Dr. Facilier, even though like I do believe that is totally justified that it can go as low as a C. But there were other things they could have done to help make up for that.
Yeah, like man, C's to get degrees.
They didn't. So yeah, because the animatronics, there's not one memorable animatronic scene except for the end that I can think of off the top of my head right now. Yeah, if I'm going to go with overall impressions, again, I would probably go C- off of what I'm seeing thus far.
I gave him a C and you give him a C-. You're going lower than me.
I am going to go lower you overall.
Right. Overall, yeah.
You just went with it because of Dr. Facilier. I'm going at no Dr. Facilier. The animatronics they were beautiful animatronics, but none of them created a show scene, a visual sight gag that I could pop for
So
me.
you're going overall. Okay, overall.
I'm going overall.
Overall, I'm giving him a D plus.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're going lower.
It's still passing. It still gets him a degree.
So you still get a subscription to D plus, is what you're
Oh
saying.
my goodness.
D still get degrees.
That's a lot.
Wow.
No, you see, okay, that's maybe why you wouldn't go. I would still go to see this. I would still go, and I would want to experience this firsthand in order to see it. So that, I mean, come on. I've gone to Disney before and saw the new, what was the bird show?
Flights of what?
with Up.
Flights of what?
Yeah.
Oh, the new one.
Well, it used to be known as Flights of Wonder.
Flights
yeah.
of Wonder with Up included into
Yeah.
it. When I went back and that had just opened, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go see that. Why not? I'm not going to say I booked a whole vacation to see it, but if I'm there, I'm definitely checking it out.
No, there's a lot of pieces that will help me bring it up. It's like, how they treat the end scene, what the scene one's all about, what walking through the queues all about. Like,
Yeah.
there's,
I think that'll make a big difference.
yeah, it'll make a big difference for them. Hey, look, with my grade, there's one way up. It's up.
You were just mad because the last time you went there was really hot, and I think we just triggered that. That's all that was.
Yeah, but it's a water ride. It should cool me off. It didn't.
But it was closed when you went.
Yeah, there was a wall.
So don't judge it for
I
that.
said, Iger, tear down that wall.
I'm not defending this ride. I'm just saying on its own, you haven't experienced the ride to get no
No,
water
then
out
they
of
said
it.
Mardi Gras season, so I'm a little miffed.
You
about
are
that one.
miffed. You're quite
It's
miffed.
carnival season.
You're
Mardi
back.
Gras is one
It's
freaking
duck
day.
season.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
good
that's right.
everything.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Rachel, what do you think about what's the grade that you give, I guess, overall
Well,
or whatever with facility?
Yeah,
And the amount?
I think I'm going to stick with what I said before. I think it could be an A, even without Dr. Facilier. Right now, for me, it's a B.
It's a B.
It's a
Rachel's
B.
starting off at a B.
But it's a B for me. I think the scenes look really beautiful. I'm glad it's an original story. I really am excited to ride it. And I think I'm going to love it when I'm there. I just didn't think that it was anything that's like getting me on a plane right now.
Right.
I feel that.
I would want us to all go there to experience it and get on a plane just because we're from here, and I want to know, is what I'm thinking valid or not?
I think that in order to completely judge something, you have to experience it firsthand.
Completely.
The only reason we're doing this in this way right now is because
This is what they gave us.
this is what Disney
I
wants
say
people.
they opened it up.
Right.
Yeah, we ride this way.
Yeah, they purposely gave this POV video to the public because they want this.
Because they didn't want to take no chance, like Danny said earlier. They didn't want to take no chance. That makes sense. I would not want somebody to take my video, say whatever comment they wanted about it before I got a chance to release it.
Well, then let me say, Disney, look, if you're listening, Magic Our Way copyright 2024, with any ideas, just some free tickets. That's all I want. And then I'll come check out your thing, or press passes or whatever.
Have we ever applied for a press pass?
They don't do press pass tickets anymore.
They don't?
They don't. Universal does, but Disney stopped doing that. You can show up and pay your own way.
With comics or none of that
They'll
stuff.
give you
There's
notices.
no media thing we can pull.
No, not anymore.
All the media stuff we got between all of us.
There's so many influences, they cut all that.
What if we really, really promise to be fair?
Well, they haven't listened
I'm
to
not
us.
sure.
I mean, we are from New Orleans. Shouldn't we not be allowed? I don't name another Disney podcast from New Orleans. Exactly.
Good point.
I don't listen to them.
I know Jimmy might argue, but he's the only one from New Orleans.
Yeah, he's the only one. That'd be like Rachel saying that it's what you call it. That would be like Rachel saying this is a New Hampshire podcast because she's the one person from New Hampshire when the rest of us from New Orleans.
This is
It's
true.
not- Yeah,
This is true.
Oh,
no,
man.
Jimmy loses on that.
All right.
But he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He is a great guy. Yeah, he's from New Orleans. He loves it. He's great. Awesome. So, look, man, we're curious to know what you think about the POV released of Tiana's Bayou venture. These are our thoughts, being from this place, and trying to be as objective as we can with what they've given us, which is not a lot. So we want you to get in touch with us. Your opinions will always be welcome on this podcast, and we're about to tell you how to do that in just a little bit. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed that episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. Look, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, if you want to get in touch with us to share your opinions on Tiana's POV, you can do so through the following ways. First of all, shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com, or call or text us at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That is 1-815
Mo Weekend
669-4226.
Oh, you know what? I should say something real quick. A lot of y'all probably have heard us many times talking about how after the show we like to go to Vincent's for a meal. That's kind of our staple over here. Kevin's thrown up in their parking lot before.
Good time.
From having too much time. Mr. Vincent passed away
last week.
But
yes, I agree. I think Mr. Vincent was a really cool guy. And actually, it was a comment that I had in there that made me think of him when I said that sometimes he even said that he went for the kid to make sure that the kid enjoyed the experience outside of the parent. So that was like a slight homage to him. I just don't.
He was such a cool guy.
He was a really cool guy.
I like meeting him.
Rough, but fair.
And took a very big interest in the show.
Yes. And his co-workers, if any of his employees are listening, they are phenomenal. So much to a point where we went to honor him. Danny, Anna, and Lily and I, we went to honor him. And he had employees that had quit that came back to honor his passing. And that says a lot for any human being. So.
Dude, we hit Remy's for that. And I was like, damn you, ego, if you give him less than a star, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
Don't take away that star, man. Leave Vincent his star.
Yeah. That's
the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, man, no.
Yeah. I just remembered, like, when we were recording, I hadn't told you yet because I'd forgotten.
Yeah, you told me that text.
You were out of town.
Like,
I did tell you.
You texted me, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
I think we were at Epcot that day, and I was like, oh, no.
Sorry. We just got done with Ryan's funeral on Friday.
God,
that was heartbreaking. So
it is tough. That's friendship right there. It's like, all right, we're there. We're going at it.
A little tough for the Magic Ori podcast.
It's been a tough month.
Very tough. No, tough couple of weeks. I took off the last couple of weeks to take a break before I started another job. This has been one of the more human-defying moments of my life.
Thankfully,
really.
you took those time off. Yeah.
It's a lot of reflection to be had.
A lot. And so, man, with that note, support us. No, I don't mean a joke.
No.
It's okay.
Eli, what you got? You do things with comics, man.
Yeah, I do. I think there's be a lot of different stories I need to start working on. Listen, the train keeps on rolling. That's how everybody wants it. That's how life goes. That's how we have to do it. So, look, the internet keeps going. And when you're out there on the internet, you're out there looking for something to do. You're looking for some adventure. Like, what does this crazy man on this podcast do outside of that? Like Kevin said, you go to ivycomics.com, by God. You check out everything I got there. Fully colored pages, more than the big two got. The only ad for them is for this podcast right here. The projects I have, Project Geisha, Savages, and the Molly Be Damned. Fully colored all day, every day. They're out there for sale. The people that have supported me, thank you very much for that. Keep the dream happening. That's how we got to do it. There's also blog posts and interviews. So, of course, there's a link to the Magic Our Way podcast. You never miss a beat. Trip report, who thinks what of who, why, who did a ride and when. All that good stuff's right there. So, ivycomics.com. On social media, Facebook, you can find me right there, Eli Chivery. As long as you're a real person, it's a pleasure to meet you. But if you are a bot, I can't greet you right now. I just can't. I don't know who these people are. Just show up and say, hi, I'm your new friend. Give me your credit card number. Please go away. I got nothing to give you, bot. I just really don't. Also on Facebook.com, you go, and there's a Facebook fan page for Project Geisha. So Facebook.com/Project Geisha. Instagram, right up there. Got some of my peeps from Magic Our Way up there. Posting up the hearts and the likes. Like what you do at EIV504 is where you can find me there. And of course on X, I can be found at Hancock 10166. So yes, if you appreciate the madness, then you just bringing me the gladness. Thank you very much.
And if you want to book a vacation for around June 28th or after to experience, or after Tiana's Bayou adventure, you can do it through Rachel. Rachel, tell them how to do this.
I sure can. I would love to book your family, your travel party, whoever you are traveling with, to anywhere. I can do all Disney destinations. That includes Walt Disney World, if you want to go see Tiana's Bayou Adventure, or Disneyland, if you want to go see Tiana's Bayou Adventure in the West Coast when that one opens. No date yet. And I can also do Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, Universal, both coasts on Universal, major hotel brands around the world, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Norwegian Cruise Line, you name it, Virgin Voyages. Those are getting really popular, and they're adults only, which is kind of a fun twist. So no matter who you want to travel with or what your travel party looks like, I can help you find a vacation that's just right for you. And that is at no extra cost to you. My travel planning help is totally free, and just a little bit of your vacation comes back to support this podcast and this fan community, and we really, really appreciate it. We have some Mexicans traveling to Disneyland next week.
No, nice.
Yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
that'll be
I
good.
love hearing that. And especially if they're going to Disneyland. That is what I
Yeah,
love hearing more than
they
anything
are.
else.
Oh, I love it.
Because, as we all know, the better version of every ride ends up in Disneyland. So they probably will have Dr. Facilier over there. And so that's where you want to go.
That's where you want to go.
Boy, if they do, that'll really be something.
Oh, yeah.
You might never go back to Walt Disney World again.
No,
Disney, if that
never.
happens.
Except for Typhoon
Every time.
Lagoon.
I haven't talked about how to contact me yet.
Contact
the
her.
best way to contact me is email. Rachel, Rachel, at magicourway.com. But you can also find me by phone. That's at 978-432-WISH. Or on social media, you can find me at R, just the letter R, Family Magic. So that's R Family Magic on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And you can DM me on those places too. And I'm going to be happy to help your group plan a fantastic vacation. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, and I want to just say real quick, look, when we talk about this stuff with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, this won't be enough for us to book a trip. That's because we're a bunch of privileged people here who have all been to Disneyland or Disney World within the last, let's say, year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it's been. We've all been recently, so we have the luxury of saying that. If you haven't been to Disney World or Disneyland in a year, 2 years,
Just go.
just go. Seriously, there's more than enough stuff there that is going to hold your attention in addition to this. Because I would, if I had disposable income where it's like I didn't have to be so selective, I'd go this year to check it out.
I would too.
Me too.
So look, if y'all want to access all the info we just mentioned, go to magicourway.com/about us. Also, if you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/magicourway. There you'll find 6 awesome tiers to support this show. And any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. The easiest way to support us, and it only costs a minute or so of your time, is to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, etc. Also, we want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Art podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So we say Kwaharini, my name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
And yar. Bye!